That committee was totally rigged, and I didn't mind going to prison.
I brought a copy tonight. Here it is, the Constitution. Can I read a passage to you? Amendment 22. No person shall be elected to the office of the president more than twice. And yet you keep talking about Trump's third. Maybe you should have this. Here,
I'll get you to sign it backstage and underline. Look, President Trump didn't bring up running for a third term. Myself and others brought up running for a third term. President Trump is going to run for a third term, and President Trump is going to be elected again on the afternoon of January 20th of 2029. He's going to be president of the United States.
Okay, but the thing I just read in there, it seemed like there was no wriggle room there. It seemed like it was just, 8 or 10 words it said only 2 times.
We have a team of people that are working. A team.
How can a team do something about that? What? I don't care if the team is 12 trillion people. The words are still the words.
Bill, every day in federal courts, right now in federal courts, there's 120 lawsuits on what President Trump's doing for his Article 2 rights on the unified executive theory. But he's chief executive, he's commander-in-chief, and he's chief magistrate and chief law enforcement officer. There's 100, and they're running to court every day to sue President Trump, all because the interpretation of this. The interpretation of this is open for interpretation.
How could it be open? Could I have it back? How could it? I'm sorry to be. No person. You would agree he's a person. Okay, shall be elected. He was elected to the office. That's the office of the president more than twice. Twice is once and then another time. I don't see what the team is finding.
Okay,
I will disagree.
Steve Bannon, very intelligent person. I wouldn't say this man is foolish in any shape, form, or way. Listening before on a few podcasts. Last time I listened to him was on the Tim Dillon show. So, no, he's a very strong Trump supporter in faith and in belief. But this new propaganda idea with them push the third term. And when you say Bill Maher have to go all the way for pull out the Constitution, which Republicans, conservative, libertarians, they talk so much about, and they don't see nothing wrong with it. And it just make you wonder what has happened. Because it's funny when people talk about upholding the law of the rule of the land and the Constitution when the opposing side is in office. But the moment their favorite party, their favorite candidate, their favorite president holds that same office, even do some of the same exact things where them used to accuse the opposition of doing, and they see him doing the exact same thing, sometimes even going to as far or further for even the worse. Quiet. Crickets. Nobody has nothing to say. It is all fine. There is nothing to see here. And I've seen this before. This cult-like devotion. And seeing that I'm from Jamaica, I know that same exact thing when I see in front of me. I see it every time. They would literally kill for it, for them. And I say kill, yes. I have seen it before where the other party is always the devil on both sides. But once their person is in power, everything is fine. The shows go on. He's basically pushing a third term, and I hear no Republican, no libertarians, no conservative, even batting a high, even talking about the Constitution, upholding it or anything. They just go where the cold wind blows. And it makes you wonder. It really makes you do.
President Trump this week in an interview with my colleague Kristen Welker said that when he repeatedly brings up the idea of running for a third term, that he is not joking. You are a constitutional law expert. Is there a legal constitutional path for him to seek a third term? And would you support him if he went down that road?
Well, I just told everybody to read the Constitution. There's a constitutional path. You have to amend the Constitution to do it, and that's a high bar. The president and I have talked about this, joked about it. He's joked about it with me on stage before. We take him at his word. I understand why so many Americans do wish that he could run for a third term, because he's accomplishing so much in this first 100 days that they wish it could go on for much longer. But I think he recognizes the constitutional limitations, and I'm not sure that there's a move about to amend the Constitution. Yeah.
He didn't say no to the idea. He says you would have to amend the Constitution for that to happen. Basically, he have to go in, use executive order, get it passed by Congress. I'm thinking that's if he even needs Congress to do that. But as what the guys say, you need to read the Constitution. And from what I heard from the previous video, it doesn't say that. But it can be done. As what he says, a lot of people want him to run for the third term. It starts off like a joke. It starts off like a punchline. They have talked about it. We hear a lot of people talk about it. Him floating the idea out there in the ether. But every joke have a merit of truth to it, or some lies. That's how it always starts.
President Trump is not ruling out the possibility of seeking a third term, even though it's prohibited by the Constitution's 22nd Amendment. He's joked about it at rallies.
It will be the greatest honor of my life to serve not once, but twice, or 3 times, or 4 times.
But now, in an exclusive phone interview with NBC's Kristen Welker, he says that there are, quote, methods for doing so, and that a lot of people want me to do it. Asked to clarify, he said, I'm not joking, but added it is far too early to think about it. Asked about one possible method, Vice President J.D. Vance running for president and then passing the baton if he won, Trump responding, quote, well, that's one, but there are others too. The president later speaking on Air Force One.
I don't want to talk about a third term now because no matter how you look at it, we got a long time to go.
Says it's not a joke. He's been thinking about it. He's not joking about it. And there are methods. One of the methods would be if J.D. Vance ran to become president after his third term. That's just one of the methods. And if he happens to win, he could pass back the baton to him. But let us say it's not a joke. It is something he's thinking about very strongly. And it's too early to fully call it. But if he's just in, 4 months going on 5 months, and he's already floating these ideas, you can imagine when it gets closer to that time. But from what he's saying, it's not a joke. He's thinking about the third term, and there's a possibility he's looking over everything, bringing his lawyers, bringing his team to get everything in place. Because an undertaking like this, you would have to start early. It can't be a bat job or rush. So definitely, the third term might be loading. Even though the 22 Amendment says no one can do that, but he says there's method. And where there is a will, there is a way. I would not doubt it. Sounds crazy, sounds radical, sounds new. But don't all new ideas comes out or comes across like that some of the time when it's being proposed. So it's just hope to the American people and see what the outcome will be. But it's not a joke, the idea of running for the third term. Don't ask me if it's good or bad. This is what the Constitution says.
This other story, I know it's hypothetical right now, but if you were allowed for some reason to run for a third term, is there a thought that the Democrats could try to run Barack Obama against you
I'd love
for
that.
his third term?
Boy, I'd love that. That would be a good one. I'd like that. No, people are asking me to run, and there's a whole story about running for a third term. I don't know. I never looked into it. They do say there's a way you can do it, but I don't know about that. But I have not looked into it.